Sing, talk, read, write, play.
Hello and welcome back to the final, I know you're thankful, episode of Sing, Talk, Read, Write, Play with Miss Sarah and Miss Nancy.
All right, so one of the most important things that I have learned from the classes at Library Juice Academy,
Real thing.
yes, is that you need to give your child, especially toddlers, between 5 and 12 seconds to answer a question.
Which is long. It doesn't sound long.
And it feels painful sometimes. However, it takes that long for the question to go up to their tiny little brains, formulate an answer, and then come through verbally. So we need to give them their patience that they need, because that helps them know that what they have to say is important. And we are trying to encourage that talking back and forth, so we need to give them the space to do that. We usually jump in at about 2 seconds. Miss Nancy might jump in at about 0.5 seconds.
I'm very bad at this.
If children come up to the desk, it's always nice to ask them a question, and Nancy will answer it for me. Nope, I'm asking the child for a reason to build all of that.
I'm working on it.
You are. You're doing much better. But I mean, they will require less time as they get older. But for now, especially with our toddlers, when we ask them a question, let's give them that 5 to 12 seconds to answer.
Yeah. And the other thing we wanted to mention, and this is the last chance we have to mention it, seeing as this is the third and final episode, is that we know
unless they want us back. Back by popular demand.
Something we wanted to mention is that we know how wonderful it is to cuddle up with your child on your lap and the book in front of you, and you can do that as much as you would like. But something that was raised in our classes that we took that I thought was fantastic is the idea of taking a book and placing it on the floor, and you lie on your belly on one side or sit, and your child on the other, with the book facing towards your child so that you can see your child's face, and let them become the reader. Have them tell you the story. And because they're facing you, you can see where their eyes are, where their attention is. You can become the listener. You can ask open-ended questions about things they might mention as they're telling their story, but it's just a whole way to shake things up and experience a book in a whole different way.
Yeah. And something I think we've done in both our previous tapings is to encourage you for interactive reading. Ask those questions, make predictions,
have not yes or no questions, more like open-ended kinds of questions.
Right, because you don't want to just passively be reading the book, la, 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 la. That's going to get very boring. And as we said, we know that kids like to read the same book over and over again. So you can make it more interesting for both you and your child by having them involved, making the predictions, adding sound effects, whatever would make that a little bit more enjoyable. We encourage you to do that and have you both involved in the reading process.
Right, and something, we've been pointing out a whole whack of stuff as we go through, like, oh, look, it's all in caps. Oh, look, we could talk about feelings here. Oh, look, you don't have to do all of these things we're suggesting with one book. Like, pick one of the things we've mentioned today and become aware of it the next time you're reading a story. Don't feel that you have to cram it all in and suddenly like you're not even really reading the book anymore. Just one thing at a time is great.
Perfect.
Right?
So I will start yet again with our baby books. This one is called Circle, Triangle, Elephant, and it is recommended for birth up to 24 months, although I have been enjoying it, I have to admit.
It is a really good book.
It is really cute. So I'm just going to get right into it. Triangle, circle, square. Circle, rectangle, triangle. Triangle, elephant, circle, elephant, elephant, rectangle.
They'll be giggling for sure.
Well, hopefully. Elephant, boat, triangle, boat, boat, boat. So it continues on with this repetition and the patterning and the sequencing. So obviously basic shapes are covered. You could even add in colors once they get a little bit more advanced. But this is just really showing visual literacy. Your child's not going to know that that word means elephant, but they certainly know if you point to the picture, that is an elephant. And I love the fact that this book can grow with your child. So they can start just reading the pictures. And that's kind of what we do in Mother Goose on the Loose with the flannel, that visual literacy. They can read the picture. The minute I put that spider up there, they're getting their fingers out for Itsy Bitsy Spider. If I put SPIDER, I don't know if they would get it right away, obviously. Later on they would. But it helps to have these books that kind of grow with your child. And my favorite thing is I keep thinking that I would love to do this and put something else here. So maybe a picture of Pop-Pop that lives far away. Why couldn't you then do triangle and then put a picture Pop-Pop square?
If your child doesn't like clowns, this isn't a good book for them.
Well,
I'm just saying.
they don't really look like clowns. They're just smiley faces. But I mean, you could even get one of those dollar store photo albums and create something very similar using this format of 3 items on a page, simple shapes, simple colors. Maybe lemon's not their favorite food. Maybe they like watermelons. Add watermelon. Add Pop-Pop. Add something that is perfect for them.
You should do a whole story time around this.
I very much would like to do a
I think
program
you totally
on it.
should.
I love this book.
Yes.
So like I said, very simple. The words are there. Some of the pictures are a little bit odd, but we still love them.
The
birds are weird. But just, they pop off the page. The simple colors, the simple shapes make it a lot easier for your little one to kind of, especially when they're infants, to really grasp on to those pictures. So all those busy things, it's too much for your little one. Start with something simple. And then, like I said, I think this one can grow and you could adapt it and change it. I just love this book. Circle, Triangle, Elephant.
Awesome. And she's going to complain, but she's up again.
Yes, so. My next one is for toddlers. This is called Chugga Chugga Choo Choo, written by Kevin Lewis, pictures by Daniel Kirk. So if your child brings you a book, Mommy, read to me. Give this to me. Come on. You're the child.
Oh, I'm the child.
Be annoying.
So,
you're very good at it.
I thought I was the parent. That's why I rolled my eyes. Okay. Mommy, will you please read me the train book?
I would love to. Are you ready?
You said Miss Nancy. You
I almost
almost
said
said
Miss
Miss
Nancy.
Nancy.
I would love to. Are you ready?
That doesn't look right. Something's wrong. You got that book upside down.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Are you ready to read it now?
No, it's still wrong.
How
I'm
about this?
I'm gonna go
How about
ask
this?
my sister to read this book to me.
So the simple act of just showing your child, they bring you the book, start with it upside down. See if they know, that's not the front. Mommy's crazy. So just to turn it around, it's teaching them in a fun way. Every book has a front. Every book has a back. We have a
them from
spine.
front to back.
All that good stuff. So, chugga chugga choo choo. And I love this first page. Chugga chugga choo choo. Sun's up. Morning's here. Up and at it, engineer. Chugga chugga choo choo. Whistle blowing. Woo woo.
The kids will have fun making the sounds.
Hurry, hurry, load the freight. To the city, can't be late. Through the country on the loose, engine black and red caboose. The train at the front is called the engine, and the train car at the back is called the caboose.
So if you have a train fan, they're
They
probably
already
going to tell you what every other single car is too.
Chugga chugga choo choo, wheels are turning. Woo woo. Oh, look at this. That letter O looks the same as that wheel. Look at all the circles on this page. There's millions of them.
Including a yo-yo.
See, it just keeps going and going.
They're everywhere.
All right, so if you were reading this book, you know, it's always important to put your fingers under the text, especially if it's something different like woo woo, so they know that's what you're reading. You're not just making that sound up on your own. Like Miss Nancy said, text in English goes left to right. But this is a great book that your little one, if they're a big train lover, you could pair with a nonfiction book. You could add in, they could tell you, like she said, all about those train cars. But this book is a perfect example. Engineer is not a word we use in typical everyday speech, but it is in this book. Engineer was a great word to add to their vocabulary. Freight is another word that you might not hear very often.
That richer language than
Much
what we
richer
hear.
language that you find in books. So, like we said, if you wanted to incorporate that sing, talk, read, write, play after reading this story, we wouldn't do all 5 things at once. But just to prove to you how simple it is, let's say we want to read this book and then do an extension activity with sing. What's a song we could sing?
Down by the station early in the morning, see the little puffer bellies all in a row. See the engine master pull the little handle, chug, chug, puff. I am so sorry.
I think it's puff, puff, toot, toot. Off we go. So anyway, so you could add down by the station if you wanted to incorporate sing. Talk. Ooh, Miss Nancy. If you could take a train ride anywhere, where would you go?
To Canada, of course.
To Canada? Have you ever ridden a train to Canada?
I've ridden train in Canada.
But not to Canada. How long would it take, I wonder?
I have no idea.
Ooh, I took a train once to New York.
That's cool. How long did that take?
It felt like forever.
Did you have young children with you?
I did not. It still felt like forever. I can't even imagine. But, I mean, we had a good time.
Okay.
So we could talk back and forth. And this is something we haven't said yet. But when you're talking with your child, you want to strive for 5. So if I ask Miss Nancy a question, where would you like to go on a train ride?
I would say Canada.
That's her too.
And then she
I said,
asked,
what would you like to see in Canada?
the Rocky Mountains.
I thought you'd say maple syrup.
I could see maple
Streaming
syrup
from
at
the trees.
at the grocery store.
No, coming out of the trees. Isn't that what Canada is known
syrup
for?
doesn't come out of the trees. It's sap that comes out of the trees.
But
And
they
it's
put the
clear.
little thing in there and it drips out. I read it in a book and books
I
don't
need to
lie.
take you to Canada
books
more
don't
often.
lie. All right.
Okay.
So anyway, so that's our strive for 5. Hopefully it goes better with your child.
Yeah.
To add read, we could pair a nonfiction book. We have, I don't know, 3,000 books on trains at the library.
Oh, at least.
So
Something
Ethan,
for
I was going
everybody.
to say, our friend Ethan could tell you where each of them is. So you could pair a train book with this. For write, you could just give your child one of those chunky little crayons, let him draw 2 lines and then all those hash marks and make his own little train track. And then you could take his toy trains and follow the train track that you guys just drew together. So like I said, we don't need to write letters, just trying to draw lines and those hash marks, which, you know, you could also say, what letter does this look like? Because you're making a bunch of different little H's, depending upon where you stand. I's or H's.
You are correct.
Either way.
You're
So
right.
just something simple you can add.
Wait a minute. Did we do play?
Play. You're
with
playing
the train.
with the train
Sorry.
on the track.
Yep. Covered. Sorry.
So like we said before, you don't want to do all of that. You do not want to overwhelm your child. You don't want it to seem
yourself.
like, or yourself. You don't want to seem like work. Oh, Miss Sarah said, now we have to sing a song. Miss Sarah said, now we have to.
Don't say Miss Sarah said. Don't lay it at Miss Sarah's feet.
No, so I'm just saying it's just something, we have 20 more minutes till we go to the grocery store. Let's sing a train song.
Right.
Just a little fun to add to the story time and enrich that experience. Okay, Miss Nancy, you're up.
I'm up. So this is the book we are going to talk about today for preschoolers. And it is called Found, and it is by Selena Yoon. And I love Selena Yoon because I found out something about her that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. So one thing, when Sarah and I were going through these books that we discovered and that is valuable to point out, is that there's often value in a book outside of the story itself. The inside and back cover of this book are the same, but they're these giant bulletin boards plastered with lost posters for various things. It would be great for an I Spy game with your child. It would be great for a conversation about what some of these signs mean. For example, this one says, lost my marbles, help, or lost my train of thought. And like, it was an opportunity to talk about what those expressions mean that we throw out there all the time. I love this book because if you'll notice, she has a little red triangular hat and it says, lost my hat, I want it back. So, being the John Clausen fan that I am, I emailed the author, Selena Yoon, and said, hey, I was reading your book and I happened to notice you have a wanted poster for this hat. And she emailed me right back and said that she's a huge John Clausen fan and that is why she included that. And she was so thrilled that somebody else noticed. So I have to love Selena Yoon because she loves John Clausen. Yeah, so just be aware that the book hasn't even started yet, and there's all kinds of fun things. You could spend a very long time lost identity. There's a person with a bag on their head. They actually have Lost seasons 1 to 6. Just a lot of good adult and child humor. Found by Selena Yoon. One day, Bear found something in the forest. You could talk with your child about have they ever found anything unexpectedly. What did they find? Bear thought it was the most special thing he had ever seen. He gently carried the toy bunny home. I might ask, shape is Bunny's nose, and do you see any of that shape repeated anywhere on these other pages? And maybe they'll notice that there are hearts on the welcome mat too. This lost bunny seemed sad, thought Bear. He wanted to help find its home. With flyers stacked high, Bear set off. Bear posted flyers on every tree. There were many treasured things that were lost, but not a toy bunny. And you would talk here about how these are all lost posters, but Bear has created a found poster. So he's hoping that someone comes along and recognizes the bunny. He searched high and low for its owner. Well, that's where we talk about opposites. Sorry, I thought there was another example, but it was the high and low. It's a good opportunity to talk about opposites. You know, say, do you know the opposite of happy? Do you know the opposite of big? It's a really funny one.
Small. But
Really? Is that what it is?
I thought you were asking me. But I think it's also important, Miss Nancy illustrated it well. If you're reading high, make your voice go high.
Oh,
If you're reading low, make your voice go low.
It's one of those voice things that Miss Nancy does.
You did a very good job.
Did I?
You did do.
Oh,
you
I
don't
didn't think
realize
I
you
did it. No.
Yes, you did.
But no one came for the bunny. Bear, time for supper. Bear wished the bunny was his to keep. But the bunny's family must be so worried, thought Bear. Poor lost bunny. The next day, Bear and the bunny swung on a tire, played hide and seek, picked juicy blackberries, and had a picnic. And again, I would use this page to talk, the talk practice, about feelings. How do you think Bear is feeling on the day that he spends with Bunny? And what makes you think that he's feeling that way? And they would point out that he's smiling and looks happy. It was a perfect day until, this is not dark and twisted, this one. Floppy, my bunny, said Moose. Bear screeched to a stop. Bear handed the bunny to Moose. The bunny was finally going home. Another opportunity to talk about how Bear is feeling and why your child thinks he's feeling that way. Floppy, my dear old friend. As a young calf, Moose had loved Floppy very much. Hey, I didn't think about this before, but that's an opportunity to talk about what the young version of different animals are called. Lamb, sheep, piglet, pig,
I wouldn't have
calf,
guessed calf
moose.
was a moose.
Yeah, right? Great opportunity that I just noticed. Sorry, as a young calf, Moose had loved Floppy very much. Goodbye, Floppy. Wait! Moose was glad to see Floppy, but special toys are meant to be passed on to someone special. Will you take good care of Floppy for me? Asked Moose. Forever. The bunny wasn't lost anymore. Floppy was home, safe and sound. This is a great page to bring up a conversation about shapes. You know, what shapes can you see? There are all kinds of circles on the bedposts and up here. We have rectangles for the poster, another circle here. We have squares on the quilt. There's a heart actually hiding up there outside. So that's a good page to talk about that. Back on the page previously, when Moose gives away Bear, you could also ask your child, relating it to their own experience, you know, was there ever a time that you gave something to someone, and how did that make you feel, and how do you think it made them feel? I'm trying to think what else I wanted to say about this book.
I want to say something about that book.
What's that?
So if you have a child, I love my daughter Macy, but if you have a child who might be a tad bit of a hoarder, even as a young child, this book would be awesome. You could read this story to your child and then say, oh, you know, you don't play with your Floppy anymore. Can you think of somebody that maybe we could share it with, because Floppy deserves to be loved? And it could be a chance to even help kind of clean up their rooms.
So Miss Sarah
and
is
pass
teaching you
toys
how to
on.
manipulate your children's emotions to have a cleaner house.
No, but I mean, I feel like my daughter
No,
would
it's true.
always give something
You're
away.
relating it to its own to
Right,
her own experience.
but to our friend Hannah. If Hannah would love this. And she would be so excited to give it to Hannah. So if you have that like
Right.
little sister bond with someone else, you could always not manipulate, but use the story
Suggest.
as a teaching tool. Teaching tool. But I also want to point out,
Yeah.
go to the middle page with the
Oh, wait. There's something else I want to point out too before.
Oh,
No. What I want to say quickly before is that at the end of the book, I would say, did you see lost posters for anything that you saw throughout the book? Miss Sarah pointed out that someone has lost a canary, and on a lot of pages in this book.
But I didn't notice it on the first page, but this one, lost canary.
Yeah,
There
it's
it
right
is
there.
the whole time.
And there's also several signs for lost pine cones. And I don't know if you noticed, but there's a pine cone here. The forest, there's like a pine cone by every tree. So, your child will pick up on stuff like that, especially if you have to read it 12 times. But another great book.
Perfect. All right. So, not manipulating my child.
She keeps coming back to that. Just say it.
Teaching tools. That's
Okay.
all. All right. So, do you have anything else to share
No,
before we close it up?
I'm done now.
All right. So, once again, thank you for putting up with us. This was our third and final,
Woohoo!
for now, episode of Sing Talk Read Write Play. Once again, Saroj Goding is a early
star.
literacy rock star. We thank her for sharing everything she knows, and it's our privilege to share it with all of you. I hope you guys had fun with us.
We had fun.
We obviously enjoyed
We
ourselves.
always have fun together.
And again, if you need us, you can contact me at runcos@einetwork.net.
And myself at martin.n@einetwork.net.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.